So this time, we're taking a look at the other Madame figure from Marvel Legends 2012 Wave 2. And this is, of course, Madame Masque. We just took a look at Madame Hydra. And strangely enough, this, even though they're supposed to be equally as easy to find, hence they're called sort of a running change instead of a variant. Madame Masque is a bit harder to find, so much so that I had to resort to eBay to find her. And structurally, she's pretty much the exact same figure as Madame Hydra, with a new head sculpt. A very different head sculpt. As you can see here, we'll just bring in Madame Hydra, and you can see that the hair is different. I believe the face is pretty much the same, but it works a lot better with the mask on. I think they've added some sculpts here to get Madame Masque's mask, her golden mask, and I think it works a lot better. Paint-wise, she's just blue and white. She's got it's pretty clean. You got some blue highlights on it, which is alright. A little bit darker in some areas than I think it should be, but it serves its purpose to adding a little bit of depth to the white. And she comes with pretty much the same weapons as well. She's got the submachine gun, but this time it's painted in a tan instead of a light olive green. And she has the same pistol, but this time it's done in gold. And I've got her in this neat little pose that I've come up with, and it's the best pose I think you could make out of this. The way both these figures have their hands positioned. It's really odd. You can't really extend their hands out and have their guns point in a straightforward position. You always end up having to bend the elbow a little bit, and I think it's it's a little bit of an annoyance. It just limits your posing options here a little bit, not to have a little wrist articulation there forward and back. It is just annoying. And I wish they had included that wrist articulation there. So Madame Masque, or Giulietta Nefaria / Whitney Frost, first appears in, she's a pretty old character. She first appears in Tales of Suspense number 98 in 1968, and she then that's, I believe, as Whitney Frost, and she then appears in Iron Man number 17 as Madame Masque. And her backstory is that she was the daughter of this Italian mafia, or what in the Marvel universe, their mafia is, or this particular mafia group is called the Magia. Her father was this Italian count, or maybe he was just a pseudo count who had somehow bought the title, and however, the crime lord gave her over to another family, basically to protect her from his enemies. And that's why she was raised as Whitney Frost. And she grew up a debutante and a socialite. But then, once confronted about who her true father was, she initially rejected him. Her ties to the crime lord eventually cost her an engagement to a up-and-coming politician. So basically, with nothing left in her life, she felt she had no recourse but accepting his love and tutorship in learning to become the head of the Nefaria-led Maggio, and particularly the one in East Coast America, and thus starts her career off as merely known as the Big M, this mysterious lady, and it's there that in her cover as Whitney Frost, she meets Tony Stark and actually begins dating him. And a raid on Stark Industries actually scarred her face, something that the two madams have in common, and thus I think it was actually during a plane crash. She was actually saved by the criminal leading the attack, called Mordecai Midas, and he hid her scarred face underneath a golden mask, and hence that's how she got the name Madame Masque. And she then sort of disappeared out of Stark's life for a while until she came back incognito as Secretary Chrissy Longfellow, sort of secretly spying on Tony Stark. However, Iron Man eventually discovered her true identity, as well as she discovering that Tony Stark was Iron Man. So, pretty soon after that, she was forced into choosing one of them because her father was dying in an attempt to get superpowers in order to fight all these superpowered heroes. And the whole thing had a very much Talia Ra's al Ghul, Batman sort of lean to it, with Iron Man. So she does eventually choose Tony over her father, and her father dies. She really resents the fact that she had to choose between the two, so she disappears for a long time, and it just drops off the radar. And she starts using, I guess through some technology that she discovered, these bio-duplicates. And so every time she comes back, she's killed off a couple of times, but they really aren't the true Madame Masque. However, the true Madame Masque did return to aid the Avengers and the Thunderbolts against her resurrected dad, once more trying to gain powers, actually succeeding this time in draining and even controlling all the ionic energy-based superheroes such as Wonder Man and Atlas on the Thunderbolts. Now, after that, she does join the Hood's syndicate during the Civil War. Other than that, I think the next time we see her is she's tracking down the fleeing Stark. Um, after Civil War, Osborn has controlled S.H.I.E.L.D. and, well, what he turns it into Hammer. But he wants Stark to find out all the information that the registered superheroes have given him, basically searching for all the secret identities of the registered heroes. And Stark has basically erased his brain, and in order to safeguard that material, so he's quickly losing his mental abilities. But that's a whole nother thing. Oh yeah, she was later healed by the Hood, who was assembling the Infinity Gauntlet, and used the reality gem to heal her scars. So she doesn't, part of the reason why she wore the mask is to hide her scarred face. And thus, I don't know if she's going to be wearing the mask anymore. But that's the last time I saw her do anything. And so I guess that'll be it for Madame Masque, and stay tuned for my next review, which will be on the Spider-Man figure, but not the big-time Spider-Man, but the variant version of that figure, the Future Foundation Spider-Man. So until then, I'll see you